This episode is brought to you by 180 Markets, where it is our goal to bring every individual, fund manager, family office, or any qualified investor access to Australian Stock Exchange capital raises. If you are ever interested in how to access ASX capital raises in a super simple way, 180 Markets is for you. The sign-up process is easy. You just upload your ID, proof of your investor status, and your current brokerage account information. The settlement of shares goes right into your existing account, and you can access our very next capital raise. If you're interested in free, easy access to thousands of ASX capital raises, including placements, IPOs, reverse takeovers, and more, check out 180markets.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another edition of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Again, friends, we're going to talk about gold and gold exploration and the quintessential place for gold exploration in WA, Kalgoorlie. And with us today to talk all about the region, gold, and his upcoming IPO of OzAurum Resources is Managing Director Andrew Pumphrey. And before I introduce Andrew, I just want to let everybody know Andrew is a true Kalgoorlie man. He's lived there for 30 years, put together his projects over that period of time. No shortcuts, no easy path. So we're really dealing with an experienced person here. And with that introduction, Andrew, welcome to 18 Minutes with 180 Markets.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to speak with you today, Greg. That's great. Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, as I alluded to, everybody's got a story, but I think in your case, it's critically important for the audience to understand your story and how you got to where you are today. Can you just spend a few minutes talking about your background?
Yeah, sure. Look, I came to Kalgoorlie in 1987 as a mine surveying student and always had a love of prospecting for gold. And look, on the weekends, we used to run around Kalgoorlie districts prospecting and looking for gold as students. And I guess that when I first sort of started pegging tenements professionally, it was probably in 1989. And then got involved in some small scale underground mining operation at Mugabe in early 1990. And look, from that time onwards, I've been slowly acquiring projects in the area, and yeah, I find it just a really great part of the world to be exploring in. It's highly prospective. I guess going back to my sort of story, I worked as an exploration contractor for various companies, including Aberfoyle Resources, that actually made the Carosue Dam gold discovery back in 1996 from memory. So my wife and myself are both part of Aberfoyle, and look, I worked for Aberfoyle in that whole belt, virtually from south of Coroni right up north of Carosue Dam. So I know that area well, and obviously we've had those projects out there for a long time, and also we're involved in other private underground mining operations. I reopened the Burbanks gold mine in 2005, I think, and other private gold mining operations, as well as undertaking our private exploration in our projects that include the Mugabe and Patricia areas. So and later on, I joined McPherson's Resources in 2011 and started off as exploration manager there. Worked my way up to being the operations manager and then the general manager. So I was basically responsible for bringing the Barara Gold project from 70,000 ounce resource up to 500,000 ounces or over 500,000 ounces. Then we did trial open pit mining there, and then more recently oversaw the open pit mining of the 3 pits that Horizon Mining have just completed. So I saw that process through. I was involved in all technical aspects of that, from the geology through to the mine planning and the operational day-to-day stuff. So yeah, it was a great experience, and it was really good to be part of that team. So here I'm still in Kalgoorlie.
Absolutely. And again, it's pretty amazing that you literally are a Kalgoorlie person. You live there, you stay there, you're not flying in and flying out. And also, do you feel that experience that you have in a very, I don't know if you call it a narrow area, but you're truly an expert in that field. Do you think that for future OzAurum shareholders, that's certainly a big advantage?
Oh, look, absolutely. I've worked all around the Goldfields region, into the Pilbara, and east of Kalgoorlie. I did a lot of work for Mark Creasy out there. I spent probably 5 years working with him out there. So I've know this area intimately, and look, we've got a really good, I've got a very good relationship with a lot of the stakeholders out here because I know the contractors, drilling contractors, the native title groups. I'm friends with a lot of those guys. We know all the pastoralists out here. We know all the suppliers. And look, I know how to do business based out of Kalgoorlie because that's all I've ever done. So, and it's a big advantage because a lot of contractors and suppliers will come and work for me before others because of the way we've worked with those guys over in the past. So I think it's all about relationships too. It takes a long time to get a good name, but a very short time to get a bad name. So our drilling contractors are locked in early, and we're able to securing drilling rigs where other people can't. So I think that sort of speaks volumes for the relationships we have built up in Kalgoorlie over the years. So yeah,
absolutely. And and I guess moving on, specifically to your projects, the Mugabe project. Can you just talk a little bit about the project and also how maybe share with the audience how you've put it together literally since 1990?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we started, I did it as part of a small underground tribute mining operation on the Mugabe Perseverance mine in 1990. And while we're out there, Freeport McMoran actually held a lot of the Mugabe North ground, and they decided to withdraw from the area. So that was when I first pegged that project. And basically that was a story of a discovery that was made in 1984 by Freeport. It's a virgin gold discovery. And they basically had anomalous gold hits over probably a 3 kilometre strike. And back then drilling techniques weren't as good as what they are now. So a lot of the RAB drilling failed to reach sort of a top of fresh rock, which we know in the felsic volcanoclastic terrain. But depth of weathering there is really deep. So you really need to get down to the top of fresh rock to actually get a true picture of bedrock gold mineralisation. So most of that project hasn't been explored properly. So we're really looking forward to doing some widespread drilling over that project area and really unlocking the potential there, as well as doing some systematic RC drilling. So it's pretty weird, yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. And just going into it a little bit further, one of the common themes I've noticed over the last 12 months is about how modern mining techniques are very different than they were even 30 years ago. Can you just discuss a little bit about that and maybe how that's an advantage for OzAurum, in 2021 and beyond?
Oh, absolutely. Look, drilling technology has improved significantly in the short time I've been involved in exploration. When I first started, there was no such reverse circulation drilling wasn't even known about. So all the drilling was done with crossover subs, and later on, the RC came in. We're using face hammers. So the step change was going from using basically a crossover sub, which is a conventional hammer, to now using the face hammers, which gives you a far superior sample quality. And also just the amount of air, and these modern drilling rigs are amazing what they can do. Like they're running 2000 CFM of air at 700 or 800 PSI. All the drilling contractors are very professional. There's a real emphasis on sample quality. So the cyclones and sampling systems these guys are using can be worth anything up to $50,000. And that's really critical to get a representative 2 to 3 kilo split sample off the primary sample. Is all about the sample system and the cyclones that they use. So, and especially if you've got coarse gold or interesting mineralogy, you critical to get that part right. So, and just the whole standard of drilling has improved out of sight. So, previously, especially even going back a step with the RAB drilling, which is the first pass drilling we used to use, whenever the ground conditions got slightly damp, rev drilling had to stop and they could never reach the top of fresh rock. And that's basically what's happened at Mugabe North, is that the limited rev drilling that's been done there is basically ineffective. So now I've got a technique called air core drilling, and that again is only something that's come out in the last 20 years. And the air core allows you to drill through the wet and unconsolidated ground conditions to get to the top of fresh rock. And the top of fresh rock is really important to reach that, because in these regolith profiles, gold supergene gold mineralisation can move all over the place, and you need to be able to drill to the top of fresh rock to actually get a sample that's representative of that primary mineralisation. And this whole, even analysis techniques have improved like light years now. The laboratories were able to do 4-acid digests, which allows us to dissolve up all the silicates, and we're able to do all this fancy whole rock geochemistry, which lets us use that as a technique to basically vector into gold mineralisation, so we can look at some of the alteration and pathfinder minerals that we're getting, and use that as a technique to hone in onto primary gold mineralisation. So that all that technology is improved out of sight. Even the geochemistry that we use, again, the level of detection limits now are down to 0.5 of a part per billion, whereas when I first started, that was just unheard of. So yeah, the detection levels have got a lot lower. We've got a huge advantage compared to, you know, the early explorers. So yeah, I think it's a great time for a project like Mugabe North to applying modern technology to the work we're doing. And even on the geophysics, it's another aspect of it there. We're using a drone magnetometer now. I mean, you know, 20 years ago, who would have thought you could, you know, have a drone that could, you know, support a magnetometer survey. So it was all airborne surveys. So now we can do close-spaced drone magnetometer surveys, the gravity surveys again, and even the software that I'm using now, the Micromine software and the 3D software, allows us to build a 3D geological model of our projects, which 20 years ago would have taken us, you know, a year's work to do. We can do now probably in a month's work, and even for our drill hole planning, the 3D viewing capability of this software is amazing. Like I always used to, I started off using sections and plans and using a cartography pen and a scalpel to wipe it out whenever you made a mistake. And so look, it's, you know, it's a great time to be doing this sort of, you know, exploration. So
yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, you have a huge amount of experience in this area. You have modern techniques. And also, can you just talk, I guess, you know, just a little bit more about, you know, some other discoveries possibly that have been in this area? Because I'd say that most investors that understand OzAurum originally know that it's just a matter of time for you. But maybe can you just share with other investors just what makes your project land so prospective?
Well, look, our project abuts the Carosue Dam mining leases. So we're right alongside Carosue Dam. I mean, you can see the milling and mining operations very, very clearly. I guess for us, Carosue Dam or the Carrara and Whirling Dervish deposits, the grade of those projects has increased incrementally with depth. And Saracen have been getting some stunning drill intercepts from those mines at depth. So what we know about those projects is the grade gets better at depth. And I think we've got some early drill hits at Mugabe North, and we'll be following it up with deeper drilling and looking at on-strike extensions and just seeing what our air core drilling produces. So it's a really prospective part of the area because of the geology. At Mugabe, we see tellurides, they're not found everywhere, and they're an important sort of indicator, I guess. And also, we're dealing with Mugabe North is basically has got some cover over it. It's not all exposed. So, as an explorer, you're looking for projects that have got cover, because it basically has prevented the historical prospectors and miners getting to these, finding them before you. So Carrara and Whirling Dervish are all underneath cover. And I was I did the original soil geochemistry for Aberfoyle on Carrara and Welling Dervish before they started drilling, and my wife was a geologist out there, so on the drilling rig. So we saw that project evolve into what it is now, and it's that's probably a world-class area. It's going to be in times to come. So they're going to be long life mines, and we've got other near neighbours which are doing really good work. So we've got the guys down there at Apollo Consolidated at Lake Rebecca, and which is that's coming along really well. It's plus 1 million ounces. It's not that far away from us. We've got the Breaker Resources team further to the south at Bombora. And again, that project's just getting bigger with the more drilling they're doing. So look, we're in the right territory, in the right neighbourhood, and it's been a bit of a sort of a poor cousin of the goldfields for a long time out there,
Sure.
east of Kalgoorlie. But with Saracen, and I guess got Sunrise Dam is obviously a very significant gold project. It's been producing gold for a long time, so I guess it's all coming together slowly for us. So we're sort of lucky to be in the right place at the right time, I suppose. There's a bit of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Timing is everything in life. And can you just discuss also your other project, the Patricia project, a little bit, please? Yeah,
Patricia's a similar sort of story. It's Patricia was a historic underground gold mine that was mined in the 1930s. Average grade of about 40 grams to the tonne. It was, I guess, the first work was done by Aztec Mining in the 1980s, early 1980s. And it's sort of a similar story, actually. They withdrew from the area in 1990, and that's when I pegged that project also. So we've had that project for a long time. And look, again, it's probably a case of it's underexplored. I mean, there's been very little work done on it, drilling-wise, since I've had it. So we've done a lot of geology work and other technical works, but look, it's open at depth. It's potentially a high-grade project. So look, we're really excited about that to start drilling out there too. So looking forward to getting out there and starting drilling.
Absolutely. And also, I suppose, the seminal event for OzAurum, and obviously for you, a huge event is becoming a public company from going into your, from your private situation right now. Can you just talk about the upcoming IPO? I believe that we're listing, I believe it's the week of January 20th. And maybe what would be your definition of success over the next 12 months, call it?
Yeah, look, I think the listing date is potentially 5th of February. So, but yeah, look, we just want to see some exploration success. So, my old adage is let the drill bit do the talking. So, we can't put the gold in the ground. I've just got to drill it systematically, and we've got projects in the right area. I mean, I consider them highly prospective. So, I'm looking forward to systematically drilling these projects and coming onto the market with some good news flow.
Absolutely. And I suppose that us as future shareholders, we're really going to get the benefits of your experience, your land holdings. You've put these projects together off of an awfully long period of time. So I'm sure you know them backwards and forwards and inside and out. The good, bad, and the ugly, so to speak. But also, having those other projects around you that have had so much success, it really does feel like just a matter of time. And we're really going to enjoy the benefit of that ride. Andrew, we just try to keep it short. Do you have any closing thoughts for the audience?
Oh, look, just looking forward to listing on 5th of February, and really excited to start drilling, and let's see what the results come up with. Absolutely.
Andrew, thank you so much for your time, and please keep us informed.
Yeah, thanks very much for the opportunity to speak to you, Greg. Much appreciated.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you for watching another presentation by 180 Markets. Don't forget, if you want access to thousands of ASX capital raises, head on over to 180markets.com.au, sign up, and get on board for our very next capital raise. Thanks for watching.